Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm joined by Gemma Noonan, who is Matt Gigg's growth director, and basically the lady that does all the work behind in the background. And Gemma, you've been both a HR director, is HR director?
Yeah.
But came into a state agency 2, 3, 4 years ago. So you've seen it from both sides. The question I want to ask from your point of view is, what are the top 3 mistakes that estate agents make by being estate agents?
Okay, so I would say the first thing is not being clear on what their mission, vision, values are. And I know that sounds a bit fluffy.
I was about to say, looks like we're going to happy valley there.
So I think if you want to run a business, you need to be clear what your vision for your business is.
Is this Simon Sinek why thing?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny, you should start with that, because that's one thing. When you ask people what their why is, very often they'll say something like, I do everything I do for my family, or it's for my kids, or whatever. And that to me is not what a why is. I think you need to be clear on why you are an estate agent.
Well, it's like most things, most of us just fell into it.
Yeah, but why did you stay doing it, right?
Well, it's kind of like a drug. I'd love to be back into state agency.
Would you?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, in fact, during COVID, I had the opportunity to go into business with someone in my town, and the love of the estate agency is calling me. The love of my wife is even more. So it was either that or divorce. So fortunately, the wife went.
But yeah, so you know what it is about a estate agency that drives you on. And for some people, it's about sales and it's about making a sale. For other people, it's about helping people. And that's what really I saw in Matt when we started working together was, here is a guy who, it's beyond selling houses for him. He wants to help people. And if I look at all of my directors, the directors in the group, they all have that in common. They implicitly like to help people, or explicitly like to help people. It's not about selling a house. So, for example, if they've gone and done a valuation with someone who probably it's not the right time for them to sell their house, maybe there's a divorce situation or there's something going on that would mean it would not be in their best interest to sell their house in the current market, we would tell people that. We would give that advice and we would walk away. And I think, that's the helping people part. It's not selling houses at all costs. So I think you need to be very clear.
Do you see an awful lot of estate agents where selling the house or doing the deal is the most important thing?
Not so much the clients we have, luckily. And I think that's probably why they're our clients and we're working with them.
When you say clients, what do you mean by clients?
So the clients that we coach within the group. So we work with other estate agents. But
so you and Matt coach other estate agents?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But surely by self-selecting, by needing coaching, they're probably thinking that way.
Yes. Yeah. To some extent, yeah.
But I thought it was all about getting houses on the market and getting one over on the competition.
That's not our style.
Yeah, but it is a style that the industry is.
And actually, so when I say not our clients, I interview a lot of, estate agents that might want to come and work in the group. And I would say the top reason why people are looking to leave corporate estate agents and look to maybe work for an independent like us is that they don't want to be selling houses at all costs. And they definitely don't want to be selling mortgages at all costs, which seem to be a lot of what is being pushed in corporate estate agency at the moment.
That's where they make their money.
Yeah.
So what comes first, values, mission or vision?
I would say values first. It's really important that you know what's important to you.
Okay. So is that just a case of writing it down and then just going to the morning meeting saying, right, these are our values?
No. That's I guess probably one of my pet peeves really is that whole, come up with 3 values, write them on the boardroom wall and then walk away and do nothing with them. And, if you're going to be serious about having a set of corporate values, you've got to live and breathe them. You've got to find ways of keeping them relevant and having your training materials and everything that you do in line with those values.
And should the values come from the boss or should they come from as a group sort of thing?
It really depends. So you could argue that, if a founder who is very much involved in the business and wanting to drive their business in one direction, that they could be the decision maker. We in our group have actually gone through a whole process of looking at everyone's individual values. Then we've looked at team values, and then we've arrived at it as group values.
Okay.
And that's been a big exercise.
Okay, but do the values then drive the culture then?
They do, absolutely. Yeah.
So what's the difference between culture, mission and vision then?
So your vision is, what are you trying to achieve with your business? And that generally should be something that's kind of high level, quite unobtainable. So Google is a great example of that. Google have a mission statement which is about organising the world's information. Like they'll never have achieved that. That's what they aim for, and everything that they do must be somehow in line with that.
So that could be what would you say your vision is with regard to the estate agency of Giggs & Co?
So we have a group vision now, and when we're looking at the group, we're looking at enabling estate agents to run their businesses in line with their values. So we look at making the best and basically achieving what they want out of their businesses.
Okay.
That could be the partners that we work with directly, so in our brands, or that could be the people that we coach. That kind of works on two levels.
What's the second mistake that estate agents make?
I would say not managing their people. So that's probably the thing that most of the directors, whether internally or the people that we've coached with, struggle with. I think it's
because estate agency it's really, all businesses, it's processes and people.
Yeah.
You've got to get the processes in place.
Yeah.
And then the people put the processes, but it's the managing of the people. Is that the weak link?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's partly people don't like to give feedback.
Okay. Do you think that is endemic in just estate agency or all businesses?
All businesses. Yeah, absolutely.
Is that a fear of confrontation?
Fear of confrontation, yes, absolutely. Fear of, I think sometimes people are just worried. I had a situation quite early on in my estate agency career, actually, where I was coaching someone and they had a difficult employee, someone who wasn't a team player, consistently showed up late for work. And the manager, the director of that business, didn't want to have a conversation with that person, certainly didn't want to fire them, because they were worried about the other team members and being short-staffed. Mm-hmm. So if I fire person X, then my other team members will be overworked and stressed. Well, in reality, when we encouraged him to have a conversation and to do something about that situation, what he discovered was that those team members were frustrated that the other person wasn't a team player and were happy to pick up the slack for not having someone like that in the team. And so quite often we're misguided and, choosing not to do something for the wrong reasons.
I've seen it many times where you've got a hotshot, say, valuer or mortgage arranger who pulls the numbers in but is dragging everyone else down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
But as soon as you remove that cancer, I hate that word, but from the environment, everyone ups their game.
Yeah, but that, you see, you can pull that back to vision and values, because if your values are not around selling the most houses, but being, a community-based agent or helping people, then that...
But surely, but this is all a bit fluffy, isn't it? So, it's fluffy bollocks, isn't it?
I disagree.
No, okay. So you're actually saying that coming back to point one, that if they have great values and great vision and a great mission, and that comes through to culture, you run a better estate agency and earn more money.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's there's performance management in there, and that's where it's not fluffy. That's where it's, this is what we're trying to achieve as a business. This is your part in what we're trying to achieve as a business. And we're going to give you feedback if you're not able to do that. Mark Burgess is really good at that. Mark Burgess is someone who is able to really concisely explain what Iceberg Digital's 3 values are and tell you exactly how he manages people against them, and expect people to be able to, on a regular basis, demonstrate how they're upholding those values. So that's where you take the fluffiness away and you have a process. So
there is a steeliness behind that fluffy.
Yes.
Do you think there's people out there that go for the fluffiness and don't do the steeliness as well?
Yes, absolutely. And that's that's why people go through the process, stick it on the wall, but then don't manage people against them.
And your third one?
Being too busy to manage their businesses or work on their businesses. So, you know, if you are, like you described, a passionate estate agent that loves the business of estate agency, we joke sometimes, you know, you can try and arrange a meeting with someone who wants coaching or one of our directors, and they'll be so busy that they can't make time for it. And yet if you said that they, you know, if you called up and said, can you do a valuation this evening, they'd make time for the valuation.
Weird that, isn't it? We haven't got. It's that sorting out that in the short term you're dealing with the fighting the fires, but if you actually took the time out to actually sort yourself out, you wouldn't have the fires to put out in the first place.
Recruitment is a great example of that. So I learnt this early in my career, you know, before estate agency, which is that you have to, if you're recruiting, you are going to be even busier in the short term while you do all the things that need to be done to recruit people. But you have to put that time in. You know, if you need strong team members, if your current setup is not working for you, you've got to take a step back. I would argue even, you know, do a few less listings this month, you know. Short term, yes, that might affect your month's income, but long term, actually having those people in your team that can be, you know, selling or even listing is the thing to do. And, you know, so focus on managing your business, working on your business, and not just, because I think a lot of estate agents out there, and they'd probably admit themselves, they're busy estate agents, they're not business owners. You know, they just happen to employ some people. They're not actually managing a business.
I think the book says you're either a business person who sells houses or you're an estate agent who's in business.
Yes, and they're two different things.
Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.